founder of Confident Parenting. You've probably joined me before for some of our expert lives, and today we are hosting another one. So I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to jump in. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you're staying healthy. I know everybody's knocked out with illness. We had back-to-back ones in our home. Hopefully you're not dealing with it. It does pass. And here comes our guest right now. So we'll get started in just a moment. Here we are.
Hi,
Maria. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
We're hanging in. Sometimes that's the best you can do, right?
I'll take it. I was trying to do this with my webcam, and then I realized that Instagram is just a phone app thing. So
I know it's a little tricky, but yep, they keep it just a phone. I'm sure they'll change that at some point in the future, but I'm glad you figured it out, and I'm glad you're here to join us. Welcome back. We've chatted with you before, but today we're sharing you with our Instagram audience. So let me introduce you. This is Dr. Maria. She's a board-certified pediatric dentist and the founder of Philadelphia Pediatric Dentistry, and she's here today to share 3 tips that you need to know before your baby gets teeth. Anything else you want to tell everybody about you, your practice?
Oh, certainly. So we are a brand new pediatric dental practice in the Fairmount neighborhood of Philadelphia. And we just took so much time setting up our location because we were looking for a place to call home for a long time. So I raised my kids here, and part of the joy of being the dentist in this area is being that like local small town parents of my kids experience. So if you see me in the neighborhood, you see me out and about, I really appreciate you saying hi. I love being late to wherever I'm going because I started talking to someone on the way. And our practice is like super nutrition oriented, which I think is maybe one of the reasons we've connected so well. A lot of the people I connect with. And I would love to share our really special relationship with the Food Trust. So our practice is working together with this community group to help work on the nutrition goals in the community, make sure all children have access to delicious, nutritious food in Philadelphia. So all of our new patient visits, we give 10% of the proceeds to the Food Trust. So if you have a chance to follow my Instagram, we're always going to be talking about like how we're using that money. It's a lot of fun.
I love that, and I know you're super proud of it, as you should be. It's a really, really, really beautiful thing. Well, awesome. We're excited to have you in our area. I know you are a wealth of information, and I know that you also make families feel very comfortable, for a visit that could feel intimidating or uncomfortable. So that's awesome. So let's say that a parent is expecting or has a new baby with no teeth yet. What is your number 1 tip that parent would need to know before the teeth come in?
I think you're going to love my number 1 tip. So the best thing you can do to secure oral health in a brand new baby is have in mind a bedtime routine and create it. So obviously newborns they don't come out with the ability to align to a routine, but like striving towards this idea so that somewhere between 3 months and the first birthday, you have something very routine and wellness set up. And it should have a component of soothing, right? Like so that the child can soothe themselves in some level. It should have a component of maybe reading and connecting with you in a way. They say the wake up and sleeping times are the 2 most important for a little one. And so I like to capitalize on this one. And there should be this hygiene aspect to that bedtime routine. So in the early stage, it might just be running a washcloth, getting in the child's mouth. And as they get a little bit older, as soon as they actually have their first tooth, I'm going to suggest you brush it with a small grain of rice, of fluoride containing toothpaste. And if we have healthy routines, we also want to make sure that we don't slip in some unhealthy routines in that bedtime. So not falling asleep with a bottle, having it so that the feeding is for nutrition as opposed to comfort, getting that bottle earlier in your evening routine so that the last thing before they go to sleep could be hygiene and cuddles and connection as opposed to just like feeding them down with a bottle. So my ideal of what a bedtime routine might look like for a 6-month-old, and what it looked like on my like A+ parenting days, because they're not all of those days. I give myself to be human. So somewhere around the 6 months, my great days would be starting our bedtime routine around 6:30 in the evening. We've finished up dinner earlier in that time. So we go upstairs, we sing out loud saying it's time for bath. I would give my son a bath. I would snuggle him up and lotion him up and all of those things. And I would do that last top him off nursing of the evening. And I would, while he was still sort of happy but tummy full and tired, go through and brush through, he only had 2 little teeth at that time, brush those 2 little teeth. And then I would enjoy my last snuggle hug. I was trying to read a book, but you see, at 6 months old, I even suspect super parents are not getting attention for a book. But I would do lullabies, and I still sing lullabies to my kids. Do a little lullaby, put them down, drowsy. So it's like a beautiful 6-month goal, but there are some components to that were most important. The security that I knew he wasn't hungry if he was waking up, right? I fed him. He's not hungry. And the security that I made sure that the last thing in the mouth was a super clean mouth, clean teeth, so that he now has these 2 habits in their correct and appropriate spots. So I think bedtime routine is critical. And it's going to evolve as they get older. But if you start it then, you don't unteach something later.
Sure. Well, of course, looking at this from a sleep perspective, I love everything about that, and for the same reasons. I imagine that a family could hear that and say, like, yeah, easier said than done. My kiddo, insists on falling asleep on the breast or bottle, or I can't prevent it. So we don't need to get into that today, but there's so many good reasons, including the habit of it, the clean teeth, the separating, the association, and not having food be the vehicle to get to sleep. So many good reasons to do it. If families are finding that it's hard to do it, of course, there are people that can help you achieve that, which is what we do. So it all kind of comes together. It's a great, great habit. And then if you're starting with the washcloth, like you said, when it comes time to introduce the toothbrush and the grain of rice toothpaste, you're just kind of switching what you're doing, but the element is already there, which you're right. It's easier to continue it than it is to establish it later. So I love that. All right. So tip 1 was to build it into a predictable bedtime routine with all of those requirements.
Yeah.
How about tip number 2, before baby gets teeth?
Yes. So I'm going to go for tip number 2 into the nutrition category. So we have this very ivory tower official guideline saying baby should quit the bottle at age 1. But every skill you should practice before you need it. So my tip would be, when you start introducing solids, you should also be introducing play with an open cup. And so I said open cup, not sippy cup. There's a whole world of sippy cups out there, and I think there's some important conversation points in it, but it's not the milestone. The milestone is the open cup, and that's why I'm saying introduce an open cup. And so when you're introducing solids, you don't want to replace body volume with a tremendous amount of water. You just want to teach this concept of sipping a little bit of water. So offer it in a medicine cup, just a little bit at the bottom. You could offer it when playing. You could offer it around bath time, but I recommend just a smidge of water or a little bit of breast milk or a little bit of formula in it, so that when it spills inevitably, it's not a fun game. There's this magical ratio, right? Of if you fill a cup that's this big with like this much of any liquid, it is so much more fun to spill it. But if you just put like a finger length in a cup that's this big, it's now more interesting to drink it. No, there's no science behind this, but I've observed it to be true, and I think a lot of parents will feel that way. Yeah, but the open cup is very important as a skill. And that way, when the time comes for the year 1 bottle transition, you actually know the skill set is there, and you're not managing so many changes all at once, because that's also when they start having this conversation about transition from formula to cow's milk or all these other, it's a lot of changes at once. So preparing before you need it.
Got it. Excellent. All right. And then tip number 3 of 3, what else do we need to know before our baby gets teeth?
Yes. So I get so many questions a day about thumb habits and pacifiers. I think it might have been two of today. So what I'd like to say is that oral soothing is very developmentally normal, appropriate. Hey, let's call it helpful. It is the newborn's version of saying, I'm stressed out, take a deep breath, calm down. In fact, it makes them take a deep breath and calm down because their mouth is now closed and they can breathe through their nose. And so we as adults are expected to do this, but I mean, that's how a baby does it. They might nurse and soothe. They might put a thumb in their mouth and soothe. They may use a pacifier and soothe. It might be a baby blanket, not as common because it's not as satisfying, but they put something in their mouth to soothe. And it is true that it matters. It is true that it might mold how the teeth align and how the jaw grows, but it is not necessarily the only factor. So if you have a pacifier baby, if you could help them keep it in the crib so they have it during a very developmentally helpful and appropriate time, but have an opportunity to learn soothing of other types at other times, I think you'll be happy with your life choice there. If you have a thumb suckers, you can't take that thumb away. Look at their cues. Look at the other things that soothe them. I met someone today that said their baby responded with like head rubbing and it made the baby take the thumb out. Your child will have more than one way that they soothe. So find the alternative, and instead of saying, don't suck that thumb, offer the alternative and see how they lean into it. And so these things, when they're 1 year old and in the infancy stage, make it very helpful for when you may actually have to make a choice on how to intervene later, because it'll be in calmer, appropriate, and helpful ways and not around the clock.
Got it. Excellent. That's super, super balanced and reasonable advice, which we all need. All right. So thank you for those 3 tips to know before a baby gets teeth. Let's say that a family's already doing all of your top 3 things. When should they think about bringing baby or toddler, we'll see what you say, to see a pediatric dentist for the first time, whether it's you or someone local to them?
Yes, of course. So the recommendation is somewhere between eruption of the first tooth and the first birthday. It gives you a nice 6-month window that works for you. And I set aside about an hour for these appointments. In a world where pediatricians have 15-minute visits for well visit, you get an hour. And I have a lot to cover. All of those dietary milestones, growth milestones, the exam, coaching you through hygiene. And I find families, you give them this information and they have twice as many questions afterwards. That's what that space is for. But these really effective new first baby visits are what set you up for never having cavities. And that's really our goal.
Right. Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you so much for the tips. I'm sure a lot of families will watch this on replay. Finally, where can everyone find you and your practice?
Thank you. So we are in the Art Museum neighborhood. The address is 2000 Hamilton Street. The best landmark is the awesome Whole Foods on the Ben Franklin Parkway. We are set up to be really helpful to families. So if you go to our website, phillypediatricdental.com, great information there, but also online scheduling.
Wonderful. Making it nice and easy.
For the 3 a.m. schedule.
Yeah, right. Excellent. Well, I will post this shortly so people can watch it as they are able, and I'm sure it will be helpful, and I'd love to have you back again to give us more tips on a different topic.
Love it. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for your time and your expertise, and we'll see you back soon. All right. Bye. Have a great day, everybody.